So welcome to the Stampin' with Val Facebook page. It's Friday morning, 10 AM. Not bad, not bad. Had a last minute rush, went to put some socks on. My feet were really cold. It's not raining. That makes a change. Always catch line. Hi Kayla. It must be an okay time for you in Australia. Either that or you like to stay up late. Whichever. What is it, about 9 o'clock? 9 o'clock? It's the only time I get any peace, that's for sure. So I'm glad it works out at a good time. It's hard to know the timings. What's good for me and then what's good for everyone. And you're never going to catch everybody in the world. There's never going to be a good time for that, I don't think. So, but the beauty of these is there's the replay afterwards. It saves them. And I always pop them on YouTube and on the blog and what have you. So you can always catch them afterwards. Yeah, 9 o'clock, yeah. So that's not bad. I'm settled about 9 o'clock at night. The kids are in bed, hopefully asleep. That leaves me about an hour before I go to bed. I go to bed early. Oh, hey Jen. Jen's in the UK, it's okay. It's the same time for her as it is for me. In fact, she's just around the corner. So that's funny. So, yeah, it's not raining today. That makes a change, doesn't it? It looks like the sun's coming in. I think I'm going to have to put a blind up there. The light's shining on me funny today. So, we've got a couple of you on. I'm going to just chat for a couple more minutes and see if anybody else is going to join us. I'll knock on the door. Well, not while I'm videoing. I dread that. I dread the man coming and ringing the doorbell or the phone ringing. I think, oh, I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure I've done one in the past where the doorbell rang and the UPS man came. But that's fine, because you guys all understand if the UPS man comes, everything stops for the UPS man. The man in his brown truck. The world stops when he comes. So yeah. So today, oh, Baz has joined us as well. Hi, Baz. Oh, I'm getting a few people this morning. That's great. And hopefully a few more people are going to hop on as they realise that I'm here and maybe get a bit of time in their schedule to join us. So, so let's go ahead and make a start. So thank you once again for joining me here on the Stampin' with Val Facebook page. Today, well, you have a red truck. I want a red truck. I mean, brown's okay, but it's brown. I like red. Red's a good colour for a truck. Oh, cool. Australia, but I've got a feeling your orders take a little while to come, don't they? Probably because Australia's such a big country, I have to say. I think your orders take a little while to come, which, considering ours come from Germany, so they come from mainland Europe, we get them in about 2 days. So we are very lucky. We are very lucky. So yeah, I thought I'd heard that it was quite slow, Australia Post. Although I'm sure Postman Pat, yeah, he's got a little red van. Yeah. I think I've heard the Americans and the Canadians complain about their post as well. So we'd be complaining if it was our Royal Mail. We'd be moaning. So we're lucky we get the UPS man. So today I want to talk to you and share with you a little bit about the card I made this week based on the Global Design Project sketch challenge that they had this week. Okay, now if you joined me last week, you when we were looking at a colour challenge that they had done, and I did 3 cards using Happy Celebrations, and the colour challenge that the Global Design Project had put up. You'd have heard me say that I quite often start with, at some point, there's some sort of basis to where I start. So it might be that I have to, well, it says my connection is weak. Let's see how we get on. And Baz says, well, yes, because my projects last week actually was like a little bit of a winner on the Global Design Project as well. So that was cool. Yay. So I'm still showing up on my iPad, but then they're right next to each other, so that might not make any difference. The root is just there, though. You can see it in the corner. Move my finger. There. Okay, so it should work. So I sort of explained how I like a starting off point. So I either start with a specific stamp set. Some blog hops I join in on, for example, the stamp review crew. We have a specific stamp set we're looking at for that. So that's my jumping off point. I know I'm using that stamp set. Other times it might be specific colours that I want to use. Other times it might be that I go to a sketch. But I've usually got some idea of some element in my head as that jumping off point. It might evolve into something else completely different by the time I've finished. But that's my jumping off point. So my connection is weak again. We kind of went up and it's gone back down again. So hopefully I won't lose you. If I do, we'll just start again. So... and I doubt I'll say anything that important or exciting if I gone. Don't worry about it. So, the Global Design Project challenge this week was a sketch challenge. I've printed it out for you to see. Look at that. Except, of course, it's backwards on here. I'll show you again when we alternate the camera and put it down flat. But basically, the elements of the sketch is you've got a basic sketch. This one happens to be landscape. You've maybe got some sort of line that cuts across the card in some way, and maybe some sort of differentiation therefore between top and bottom. You've got, it shows a circular element here, and then you've got a little twine bow. But what I want to discuss with you is that all card sketches are just starting off points. That's all they are. They are just somewhere to begin. Somewhere to get you going. Okay, so not only am I going to show you the card that I've made that I'm going to enter for the challenge, but I've also made 5 more cards using this same sketch, but they're all different, and I'll talk you through how they're different and why they're different. But the beauty of card sketches is that, for example, just because this shows you that it's a circle doesn't mean you have to put a circle there. Okay, I have done for the card I'm going to make with you today. It doesn't have to be a circle. It could be a square. It could be a heart. It could be something else. Okay. This top piece and this bottom piece could be, you know, this could be paper and card, but then this could be paper and this could be card, and this could be over the top of this, or this could be over the top of this. You know? Or you could turn it this way, or this way, or this way. Okay? Or like I've done, so that showed you it as landscape. This one, the one I'm showing you today, oh, I've got low battery on my phone as well. That's not good. Oh dear. I've turned it into a portrait card. Okay. I can't actually see what the battery on my phone looks like while I'm live either, so we might have to get on with it today. Okay. So I've taken the same course sketch, so I've still got a top panel and a bottom panel, a different colour. I've still got that circular element. I've cheated and I've moved my bow. I've moved my bow up to here, but it's still on there. I've got all the elements on that card. I've just flipped the rotation of the card and put it into an up and down card. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that those are just there to get you going. They're there to get you started, but don't feel that you have to follow them to the letter, because you don't. You don't have to follow it. It's just a base to start from. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this card before my battery goes completely flat, and then I'll share with you that the other 5 cards, I'm going to share them with you on the video today, but then each one will go up on the blog Monday through Friday next week with a bit more detail and some still images and what have you of each card, and the products I've used for each one and what have you. It's like a little mini series on the blog next week. So you'll be able to get close-ups then. But we'll look at each one today, battery permitting. Okay, so let me go ahead and spin you around and let's get on and make that card. So there's my wall on my hand. Oh, twiddle the knobs. I still haven't labelled those knobs, pals. Okay, round we go. Past all the mess. Tighten it back up. Not bad, that was pretty smooth today. Move you down. There we go. Right then. Here's the sketch the right way round then. Okay, this was their challenge this week. Okay, rectangle, something differentiating across there, some sort of element there, maybe a bit of a background in there with the hearts. So that was the sketch. So you can see I've got most of the elements. So I've got the differentiation between top and bottom, the circular element, a bit of a background, got my bow, got all the elements from here onto here. Okay, let's go ahead and make this one, and then I'll show you the other ones that I made. So the first thing we're going to need is a Whisper White card base, and if I'm using Whisper White for card base, I always use the A4 thick cardstock, absolutely always. In fact, I pretty much use it for all my matte layers and stuff now, to be perfectly honest with you. Because this is a portrait card, I'm going to put it into my trimmer on the long side at 14.85 for metric. Whatever half a sheet of A4 is if you're in imperial, that way. I don't know off the top of my head. I think it's 5.5 inches because your card's 11 inches. Rotating it now so the short side's in my cutter. The blade on my trimmer is really woolly for cutting, so I've transferred to here. 10.5 centimetres, so halfway across. This is 21 in total. Okay, Americans 4.25, I think. So you get the card base like that. I score and cut once, I end up with 2 card bases. That's okay. Right, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the flowers onto the bottom of here. So I've got the birthday bloom stamp set, and I've got that big floral. I actually used this stamp set for the challenge a couple of weeks ago as well, where we were casing Kylie Bertucci. I hadn't seen it, shown it any ink for months, and then it comes out twice at once. I'm going to come off the bottom of the card slightly so it looks a bit more natural. So there's one there. Ink it up again. I'm using Memento. Any black ink would be okay at this point. And then I'm going to try and sort of squidge that into there, but I want this to come up a bit higher. I think I've done that one a bit far over. Never mind. We'll end up with a bit of white at the bottom. Never mind, doesn't matter. Let's pop it on there like that. Then we've got ink all over the table. So we'll just wipe that off so it doesn't end up on the back of the white card base in a minute. There we are. Right then, black ink is done. This is actually a fairly quick card, to be fair. It's not a complicated one. So there's the base. I'm conscious that I don't know how much time we have because I don't know how long the battery on the phone is going to last. Next I have a piece of Watermelon Wonder cardstock, and it's the same size as the front of my card base. Okay, so 14.85 by 10.5. And we want to add to this curvy edge under here. Now you might just think, oh, she's taken scissors to that. I can't cut in that good a line. Okay, if you remember the Halloween treat bags that I did on my blog for the Halloween series back in October last year, you might remember the little treat bag toppers that I did that had a curvy edge to them as well. And this is done in the same way. I've been meaning to apply this to a card for quite some time. But basically, it's this wave die from the Swirly Scribble Thinlits. It's this wave die, like that. Okay. And what happens is when we cut it on here, all of this will cut out the waves and stuff, but we'll be left with that curved edge like that. I'll probably bring it down, I'll probably do it about there. I might put a bit more of an angle on it, do you see, like that? So I won't sort of do it straight, I'll do it at a bit of an angle, like that. So I get a really good curve. I might bring it across that way a little bit as well. So I get a really good curve on it. So we're going to need our big shop to cut that. So, can you see? That's a bit better. Right then. So let's see about positioning this on here. Okay. Blooming magnets in my magnetic platform and moving it not to where I want. Baz says she doesn't have this. Well, you didn't have the stamp set last week, and look what happened then. Right, pop that on. You get the idea. I think it's moved a little bit, but you get the idea. Pop that through. And then what happens is, yes, obviously you cut the wave out, so you got all of that. But you can ignore all of that. You don't want that. But you're left with a curvy edge. I didn't position the die terribly well, I have to say. You're left with a curvy edge. My original one's got a better curve on it, I have to say. Let's see if we can have another go. Don't know whether the battery's going to allow. I've got another bit of Watermelon Wonder here. Let's have another go. I think I'll put it in this way. Trying to work out which way to go. That way more? Let's try that. It's maybe a little bit better. Somehow I don't have quite the same scoop into it. I'm trying to work out which bit I've used of the die that has more of a... I just seem to have a curve like that at the moment. So, washi tape. Washi tape does work. I mean, in theory, the magnetic platform's supposed to work as well. But sometimes the magnets don't quite line up where you want them to, do they? Technically, we're going to use that again in a minute, so I won't move it far away. You've got the idea anyway. And then this is going to position on here. This one, that's much higher. I think I've done it completely differently. What about that one? That one's a bit better. That one's a bit different. Play around with the angle, because my original one has a much bigger curve on it. I'm wondering what I've done differently with that one. Maybe I've used the die this way up. I think maybe, no, because then that would cut. Now I'm confusing myself. Maybe I've done that on the bottom of the edge of the piece of card. Does that seem more likely? That's the same thing again, isn't it? No, all right, ignore that. Okay, we've got a curvy edge now. Right then, so on the background, for that background stamping, I have got these two little, a small flower image and a little dot image. They're all part of the same stamp set. This is a one stamp set card, okay, like those, and Watermelon Wonder ink. I'm just going to bung a bit of that randomly all over here. Make sure you come off the edges in places. Okay, like so. I'm doing it rushed. You're going to take your time, obviously, to get a nice pattern. Put some dots in between. Like that, maybe up there. Another one off there. Yeah, not bad. So there's that part. Okay. So this would go on here. Like so. So then we just need that sentiment. The sentiment I've heat embossed onto black card. So for that, here's my sentiment and here's my Versamark. Versamark is the ink we use for heat embossing because it takes a little longer to dry. And because it takes a little longer to dry, it gives you time to put the embossing powder on, which I hadn't got out at all. None of that. Such organisation, eh? Right. So we've stamped that, we've inked that up. We're going to stamp that on there. And I'm going to cover it with white embossing powder. A bit of a tray or a bit of folded paper to catch the excess. And tap off any you don't want. You can take a dry brush to all these little flakes here. I do have a video on my YouTube channel for heat embossing where I go into it a lot better than I am doing now. I'm rushing it because I'm worried about that camera battery as well. Okay, now we're going to heat this up, and heating it up melts all this powder and makes it all raised and shiny. So heat gun. Hope you can still hear me. Holding the heat a couple of inches above. Keep it moving till you see the powder melt. When it melts, it goes very shiny and bright and white. But you can overheat it and burn it and turn it sort of yellow, so watch out for the stopping point. Looks pretty good to me like that. Okay. So now, that's all, don't know how well you can see, but that's all sort of shiny and glossy. And now obviously, it won't come off either. Had I done that just as powder, okay. You do need a proper heat tool. You can't just use a hairdryer, because that would just blow all the powder away. You do need a specific heat tool, okay. I'm going to die cut it using the Stitch Shapes framelit. This is the second largest circle from that collection. And I'm just going to stick this in here, pop that on there. This just fits into this. You can't see the big shot again, can you? There we go. This just fits in this circle towards the bottom. But the next size up was too big. So through we go. And now you have that really pretty stitch border around it. Ugh. Right, lose the big shot. Out of the way. Right then. So most of our elements are ready to come together for our card now. Okay. I wasn't sure about the twine, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to assemble this one without the twine, and then you can tell me with the twine or without the twine. Because I couldn't make up my mind. I like twine, so I do tend to put it on. It's really just an assembly job now. So, dimensionals on the back of here. This is actually a really quick card, even with the heat embossing. This is actually a really fast card. Okay. Lining the top up on there. You want to make sure that when you have your swoosh there, you've only got the flowers disappear underneath. You don't want a big lump of white. That would be a bit silly. Okay, and this then goes here, but you just want some more dimensionals, but just on that top section, not under here. So I'll just pop a couple on like that. Okay, and then you work out where that goes. Okay, like so. So what do you think, with twine or without? Now I'm seeing them next to each other, I think with twine. But I only had one at the time, so it was with or without. And by the time I'd put it on, then I didn't know what it looked like without. But now I've seen them both together, I think with twine. But let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, but I'm sorry I didn't get as good a curved edge on that. So if you head to my YouTube channel, you will find the video I did, Baz and Jen both say with, I agree. You'll find the video I did for the Halloween treat bag topper. Had a little handle, little, not cellophane bag. What are the slightly clouded ones? Oh, you know the ones I mean. Anyway, it was a little topper with a handle, okay? And I did this curved swoosh on there as well. And it came out much better. I'm not sure what I've done today that I've got it wrong. But I have got it wrong. I've got the curve all wrong. And I don't know why or how. No. And you can't use that one because you get that silly edge in it. No, it doesn't. I'm trying to see if I can get it to match up. And I can't. There. Okay. I've done it the other way round and then I flipped it. So if I cut it like that, then I flipped it, but I had it the other way up. So do you see how that matches now? There's that cut edge there. So I must have cut it like that and then flipped the piece of card over. And that's how I've got that edge, like that. Okay, at least we've figured it out now. At least I figured it out now. It's driving me bonkers. Right then. So, the glassine. Well done, Kelly. Kelly's jumped in. Glassine bags. That's the word I was thinking of and I couldn't remember. Thank you, Kelly. That's great. Sharon says with the twine. I agree. I think the twine. Yeah, definitely. Right then. So, now I've shown you how to do this card and I think we've still got some battery left in the phone. So let's go ahead and look at the other 5 cards I made using the same sketch. So here's the sketch. Let's bring that back in. I'll pop that one up there out of the way. Make sure we've got plenty of space. So here's the sketch. I still haven't got the creak in this chair fixed. Okay. And here are the 5 other cards that I made and that I'll be showcasing on the blog next week. And you can see how I've taken the sketch either very literally or I've switched some elements around with it like we discussed at the beginning. So for my first card, this is very literally as the sketch, okay? I've stuck some paper in the background. I even chose one with hearts on it that matched this background stamping here. I then took a piece of Sahara sand card and stuck it over the top so the paper tucks underneath. I think the paper covers the whole base and then this sticks over the top like that. I've got my circular sentiment. It doesn't have to be a circular, it doesn't have to be a sentiment, but I've got my sentiment in that circular element. And then I've got a little twine ribbon that runs across the top of there with a bow just there like that. Okay, so this is a very true representation of the sketch. I've changed nothing basically. Okay, so there's that one. Next up, let's have a look. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, so this card is actually a shaker card like that. Okay, and again I haven't changed masses. I've still got it in a landscape orientation. I've put that curved line in again though, exactly the same way as we did just now with those Swirly Scribble Thinlits dies with that wave die. Okay, so I've changed that from a straight line to a curly line. This time, instead of the card being stuck on top like I did for that one, I've actually got paper stuck to the card base and then another piece of card coming down over the top. Okay. I've kept the circular element this time, but I didn't put a sentiment in this time. I made it a little shaker card with those Cool Treats Thinlits. Is it Cool Treats? Tasty Treats? Those Thinlits. I've die cut a little ice cream, made a little shaker panel out of that circle. Okay, move my sentiment to over here. And then the bow is actually on the ice cream itself rather than off to one side. Okay. I didn't bother with the background for this one. I ummed and ahed about perhaps popping some more sequins, sticking some more sequins up here. But I'm a very clean and simple girl and so I left it. Okay. But again, it's fairly true to the sketch. Alright. The next card I made was like the card I shared with you just now, in as much as all I did was switch the layout of the sketch from a landscape to a portrait. Okay, and this one I made actually using some Project Life cards from the Hello Lovely Project Life kit, which made the card really quick and really simple. So I've got one of the 4x6 cards stuck to the base with a bit trimmed off, and then one of these little 2-inch square cards down here. So instead of a circular element, I've got a square element now. I've got sequins stuck in the background for that background element, and I stuck with the twine as it is in the layout. And this is some Calypso coral twine that coordinates with the colours in the Project Life kit. And I've just taken a few strands and tied it into a bow, because it's actually quite a thick twine normally, and it was too bulky for the card, for the look I was going for. And then the sequins and the wooden bit were just elements from the accessory kit that coordinated with this. So I've just popped those on there just to give it a little bit of extra oomph. Okay, next up, what I've done, oh, and I've just trashed it, hang on. Okay, is I've got this card. Now, all I've done from this card to this card is I've basically flipped the sketch 180 degrees. Okay, so now it's still on a portrait card, but it's like that way up now. Okay, so it's still the same sketch. I've just rotated it 180 degrees. Okay. I've got this balloon paper, this Carried Away DSP. This is one of the celebration products that's free during celebration till the end of March. Okay, I've ditched the circle again. I've gone with this label punch with my sentiment in it, and added one of the little balloons. Okay, so these balloons basically replace those hearts there, because like I say, this is this sketch this way up basically. So still got the twine, still got the differentiation between the two parts of the card. Okay, but I've got a label shape instead of a circle. But again, it's the same sketch. I've just flipped it. Okay. And then finally, all these cards for this section, I'd stuck something on top. I'd had an extra layer on top. But thinking outside the box a little bit was to cut into the card. Rather than coming up above, was to actually cut down into, rather than sticking above. So this card is made with the Animal Treats suite, and chosen colours from the paper in that. Okay, I've still got the separation of top and bottom, but this is just a piece of paper stuck onto the bottom of here. And then I've added some strings. This is the balloon string, but they work quite nicely as streamers at the top of cards. And then when I'd created this panel with the green and the paper, I took it to my Big Shot and I cut this tag shape out of it. Okay, I've still got it knocking about on the desk somewhere. There you go. And you could easily use that for another card where you've done this bit and then you stick that on top. Absolutely. But I've cut that piece out and removed it. And then inside, I've cut a smaller label with my sentiment and I've stuck that inside the shape. But as you can see, I've still got the core elements. I've got this panel down here, this panel up here with some sort of imagery. I've got a shape, okay? And then I've still got some twine. I've moved it to the top of the little party hat embellishment, but I've still got a little bit of twine. So I've still got all the elements from the sketch onto this card, okay? So those are the 5 cards that I've created, or 6 if you include the one I showed you how to make. But as you can see, if I move this out of the way, they're all really quite different, partly because obviously I've used different colours of paper, different stamp sets. Let's bring that one back in as well. That was my original one. Okay, so obviously they're going to be different because I've used different stamp sets and different colours and what have you. But even so, one sketch, if you just do a little bit of lateral thinking, okay, you can kind of translate it into lots and lots of different cards. And do you know what? I personally could probably use that one sketch for a whole month and make you 30 different cards easily. Okay, I could just keep going with it, partly because it's a sketch design I like. That always helps. Not all sketches are going to appeal to you, obviously. You might be like, oh, that's too fussy for me, or whatever. So it helps that the sketch appeals to you in the first place. But then if it does, you can just keep going with it and using different papers and different stamp sets. Baz says do it. What, 30? A card every day of the month using the same sketch? Well, maybe one day. Well, maybe one day we'll do that. So, but absolutely, switch out the stamp set, change the shape, move the twine, you know, use a kit. Don't just plonk a die cut on top, cut a die cut out. Okay, one sketch, 6 different cards. Okay, so on the blog next week, I will be showing these 5 cards, one each day of the week, with more detail about how I made them and what have you, and the products and things that I've used. So, but I hope you've enjoyed this sort of little mini class. Let me spin you round now. I'm going to spin you round actually. Oh, I'm down to 10% now. I don't know how long. Right. What are you getting now? Not a lot. My ceiling. Nice. There we go. Background. Oh, Charlotte's joined us. I thought you were at the NEC. Charlotte's gone to the stitching show. I was going to go with her, and then I was like, nah, I'll do my Facebook Live. Better be here with you guys. So I'll only spend money if I go. Don't you all? You go to these shows, you just buy loads of stuff. So I've stayed home, very wisely. I've stayed home. Okay. So, and I've forgotten what I was going to say now. What did I flip it around and say? So I'm going to share all those cards next week on the blog, and you can see them there. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this kind of little mini masterclass, a little insight into my mind and the way that it works. I shouldn't stay in there for long, it's not pretty. Okay, but just an idea of how something as simple as a really simple card sketch, okay, could keep you going crafting for hours. But don't feel that you have to take the sketches literally. Use them as a jumping off point, okay, to then go on and create other things, and think about how you could take the different elements from the sketch and change them. They don't have to be, just because it's a circle, it doesn't have to be a circle. Just because it's paper doesn't mean it has to be paper, it could be card. Whatever, just because it's a straight line doesn't mean it has to be a straight line. You can make it a wavy, wonky line, okay? Because that's all they are, is they are just a starting point to stretch your creativity and to help you sort of go on, okay? So really hope you've enjoyed this sort of little class this week. Kayla, you've inspired me to join the challenge. Do it. Absolutely do it. I can't wait to see what you make. Absolutely. I'd love to see it. And I know that Kylie and the rest of the global design project team would love to have everybody join in. And actually what I think I'm going to do is, if you're on here and you're one of my VIP stampers, what I think I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pop this sketch into our VIP Facebook group, for my customer Facebook group, and maybe set you a little challenge, give you a couple of weeks to make a card based on this sketch, and maybe have a little prize, pick one for a winner. So if you're in my VIP group, watch out for that, because I think I might do that. Okay, Baz says do it. Yeah, do it, Kayla, come on, join in. I've been joining in the last several weeks, and it's really good. It's really good fun, and it makes me make something. It gets me going, it gives me that jumping off point, and makes me craft, which sometimes we all need a bit of that, don't we? So I hope you've enjoyed today's little class. I will be back here next Friday. Yeah, next Friday I will be back with more projects, more insights. In the meantime, those cards, blog post every day for the next week at least. I'm trying actually on the quiet to blog every day through March as a little challenge, so watch out for those. I've also got loads of things. Oh, my head. Kayla's made 30 cards this week. Wow. Well, I haven't made that many. I've made these 6. That's it. That's what I've made this week. Yeah, I want all sorts of things going on in my head, of things I want to add, more videos and more everything. Okay, don't forget to sign up to my newsletter. If you don't already, there will be a PDF tutorial for today's card in that when it comes out tonight at about 5 o'clock. That's in about 6.5 hours. Okay, so if you're not already signed up for my newsletter, make sure you do that. Make sure you've liked and followed the Facebook group so you don't miss out on my live videos in the future, because we always have good fun and they're great fun, and I hope you enjoy them, so they're worth coming back for. You can also follow my blog at stampingwithval.com. You can follow me on Pinterest, you can follow me on Instagram, I have videos on YouTube. If you are new to me, there are all sorts of places that you will find me and find all sorts of stuff that I do. So I hope you'll join me back here next Friday, if not before, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.